Hello and welcome back to my allotment garden as we head towards the end of August. It's the 25th today, it's a bank holiday weekend and we've had some glorious weather, and I think it set some records for the hottest bank holiday in August since records began, which is very unusual because usually our bank holidays are a washout. But don't let that fool you into thinking that this month has just been glorious sunshine all month, because it hasn't. It's been back and forth. We had the heat wave at the end of July, that only lasted about a week, and then we've had some torrential rain, lots of strong winds, so I've been around and I've staked all my dahlias that you can see are now in bloom at last. So it's just been a really unpredictable month, and at times it's actually felt quite like autumn. In terms of the allotment this month, I've been doing quite a lot of weeding because of all the rain that we've had. The hedges need trimming. It's starting to feel quite claustrophobic as they all get a bit closer. And I've been harvesting lots of tomatoes. There's still lots more to come, and it's looking a little bit gappy in places where I've been picking a few of those harvests from the ground. I've got some exciting things to show you, including this enormous squash, which I can't quite believe I've grown. I've got a new bird bath set up in the wildlife area. I've painted my bench, that looks now a lot crisper, and I've potted up a new container next to it. We've also got lots of chilies to pick in Zoran's greenhouse, so we'll pop over there later as well, because tonight I'm going to roast a lot of tomatoes and vegetables for my dinner. If you spotted it on the intro, I've also got a new sign for my gate, and I'll tell you more about that as we head up there and start the tour. So let's go. I've got a new sign for my gate. It finally arrived, and it's been handmade by a lady in Texas in America, and I just think it's an absolutely gorgeous way to greet me to my allotments. It's so personalised. So she's taken inspiration from my Instagram page, and we've got my plot number here at the top, 152A, and it's surrounded by the hawthorn tree that actually grows right here above my gate. This here is taken from a photograph that I shared last year when I picked a huge bunch of dahlias for my birthday. Lots of the Wizard of Oz, which are right here, which is my absolute favourite. Then we've got my trug filled with garlic, some achillea, a squash flower, and even a tiny little bumblebee there. I think the colours are just so vibrant, it's just so personal, and it's just such a lovely way to greet me to my allotment. So please do take a look at her Instagram page at Omar's Gardens, or her website, so you can see more of her work and the fruit and veg that she grows on her back garden. Well, let's take a look inside. And already you can see the dahlias from this side as well, and I kind of planted them the wrong way round really, because the Wizard of Oz here should really be at the back so that I can enjoy all of these from the opposite side, but I'll just move them, you know, next year, it's no biggie. But oh my god, what a greeting, all those flowers. Let's take a look down at the pond, see what's going on there today. Well, as you can see, it's still quite overgrown, creating lots of shade, which is great because it's been so warm, so the frogs and the newts are actually going to really enjoy that. I know that they're still in there. You do hear them jumping in occasionally. So yeah, that's all doing fine. Some of the flowers are going over a little bit. I've not been deadheading these calendula as well as the others. So these have all gone to seed, look. But it should still carry on flowering really until the first frost, as long as I keep deadheading them. But the nasturtiums, they've climbed right over there to the raised bed where the dahlias are. Is that a red admiral butterfly, I think? On the butterfly bush, or the buddleia? Living up to its name. Come on, show us your wings. You remember my plum tree that's really poorly? Well, I'm pretty sure it's dead. I scraped back some of the bark and there was no sign of green, so that indicates that it is definitely dead. But somebody commented in my last video saying that a rose would look great climbing up it, and I agree. So I'm definitely going to grow something up it next year. For now, we've got all of these little miniature squash. We've got a few of them fruiting down here. These are all the miniature little pumpkins. I think we've got Jack Bilittle and a boo, I think. I can't quite remember the names. And the idea was to grow them up the tree, but it put on such a growth spurt, and I wasn't able to get up to sort of train it, that I've only managed to get one of the vines to go that way. We'll see if they produce many little pumpkins, but I have made a bit of a squash mountain as it goes down to the other patch where I've got quite a few. But this goes all along the path, by the way, and there are some miniature squashes. Look, I can just see another one. I think that one could be a candy roaster. I have a lovely random gazebo white cosmos in the middle of the patch. I have really enjoyed planting flowers with my vegetables this year. I've done it quite a lot more than usual. I'm definitely going to continue to do it because I think it, you know, entices the pollinators over to pollinate the vegetable flowers. I mean, just look at all these squash leaves. Oh, you know, I haven't actually discovered all of the squash under here yet, but let's have a look. Hello. That looks like another one of the onion squashes, the red curry. Ta-da! That on the right there, that looks like a crown prince, and I think that's another candy roaster there. There's quite a few here. I imagine I'm going to have quite a few surprises when this foliage starts to die back over the next few months. The strawberry patches really need weeding. I kind of got the grumps with that area, and there's bindweed and all sorts in there. So it's looking pretty messy. So we're just going to carry on to the apple tree and wildlife area. These apples are looking so good. They're almost ready now, and you'll know when your apples are ready for picking because if you twist them, I'm not going to do it because I know they're not ready, but if you give them a gentle twist, they should come off really easy. And if it takes any more than a pull or a tug, if you feel you're putting too much effort in, then they're not ready. And this variety is a dwarf Egremont russet, so my tree isn't very big, and it's a russeted. You can use it for cider making, for cooking, and for eating as well, so you get the triple whammy. And my tree is absolutely smothered in apples, and I'll be picking these from about mid-September. Usually around my birthday is when I pick all of these apples, and it's going to be a bumper year. Another fruit that's doing well for me this year are my autumn fruiting raspberries, and I've already harvested quite a few bowls full of these, and they're just so sweet, so plump, and they're just absolutely delicious. In fact, I'm just going to have this one now because it looks so ripe. I've had a pretty poor year so far for fresh fruit on my allotment with the strawberries, but homegrown raspberries, you just can't beat the flavour of these because there's just so much flavour in them. They're so big and so juicy, and I have no regrets in pulling up my strawberry raspberries and replacing them with the autumn fruiting because I find they're so much bigger, so much tastier, and they actually prefer it seasonally, I think, on my patch at least. I find that raspberries really don't do well in the heat, so if you have a hot summer, the summer fruiting ones just shrivel up, whereas these like it a little bit cooler. They can get away with some shade, and well, the flavour just speaks for themselves really. This variety is called Joan J, and I really recommend it to anybody that's picking up some raspberry canes this autumn. This might just be an episode all about me eating raspberries now. It's just so good. Almost makes up for my lack of strawberries. Maybe not quite, but they are damn good. Just one more. The sweet peas are just about hanging on. Still have a few blooms, but a lot of them are now starting to go over. Look at my fingers. It matches the sweet peas. But yeah, these will be going over soon, and look, I do already have some seed pods, so I'll be saving these seed pods to hopefully grow next year, and you should have a video to look forward to very soon about me saving all my seeds and drying some flowers, so watch out for that one. This cosmos is absolutely enormous. Really love this variety. It's a new one that I'm growing this year, and it's called Cups and Saucers. And just like one huge petal, that one. And then next to it we have the Birdbath that I planted up the other month with all of those alpines, and it's doing really well, and it's coming into flower as well. These are just starting to bloom. Love the colour on that. the green with the touch of pink. Over in my wildlife corner, I finally have the bird bath that I've been dreaming of. And the bird bath that I recently shown you just there with all the alpines in it, that's one that I bought a year or two ago. It had a crack in it, so I couldn't fill it with water. Tried fixing it, but it just didn't work. So I've been keeping my eye out for a second-hand bird bath ever since, and this one I finally bought. It cost £15 and it's made of stone, so it's really heavy. And I just absolutely love it. I think it fits the space much better than the other one that I bought because it's much taller and much wider as well. So, you know, if I had more flowers, it's not as filled out around here as it used to be last year, but it sits above those, so it's not going to get lost with all the foliage and flowers. And what I've done is I've actually put some pebbles and made a beachy effect at one end where it comes out of the water so that any insects can land there and take a drink without the risk of drowning. And I've also put some down on the bottom layer of the bird bath as well to hopefully make it more enticing for the birds that might not be sure on the depth, so it just gives them a better perspective. I haven't seen any visitors come and use it yet, but fingers crossed, with this hot weather it won't be long before somebody arrives to take a little bath. There's lots of blackberries over there in the back, and I saw a robin eating some of those the other day. We've got some sedum in the back corner that's about to bloom, and the verbena is being really loved by the butterflies and also the bees as well. I saw an enormous bumblebee on it just the other day. Down in the bottom of the hedge I've got all these berries, and it's from a plant called bryony, and I was told that it's best to get rid of it, but the root was so big it just carried on growing. The berries I don't believe are edible for human consumption, so I wouldn't advise it. I'm not going to eat them, but I know that the birds do like them, so I'm leaving this up here for the birds to enjoy. I do have some perennial sweet peas still flowering, and I forgot that I actually sowed these. I think I just threw the seeds down in the ground towards the end of autumn last year. They're not actually scented, but they do look great. But this area isn't in bloom like it was last year. It's looking quite a bit different, but I don't mind. You know, it's going to change every year now, and I quite like that. That's what gardens are about. My shed has had a new lick of paint, so it's looking a lot neater, a lot crisper than it did before, and I've tidied it on the inside as well for a new video that's coming out soon. So yeah, the shed's looking a lot better. If I spin around, just look at that carrot bed, surrounded by all the calendula and the nasturtiums. It's so orange and red. Love it. Inside, the carrots are doing really well, and they're growing at different rates, which is good. It means I can harvest them as and when I need them. Over in my seating area, my bench has had a new lick of paint, so that looks much better. We actually had a barbecue here the other day, which was really nice, and this pot is just my absolute favourite planter of all time. Moving down, this is a new planter that I've planted up, and I took out the old sweet peas that were in here, and I've put a little mixture in of some more of that erigeron. The petunias are actually in a pot in front, but these trailing white petunias are going to hang downwards. And then we have some cosmos, which has been a bit nibbled on, and a dahlia as well, creme de cassis this dahlia is. I've got a feeling that that could be earwig damage, and there is a trick to put a little upside down pot of straw next to your plants to capture them in. So I'll be keeping a close eye on these. That one needs deadheading. So yeah, that's a new little planter that I've made up. I'm quite pleased with that. These night sky petunias, oh my goodness, look at them. Now let's move on to this bed over here, which has kind of been my salad and greens bed. And would you believe it, look, I've actually finally got courgettes. Picked about 3 or 4 already, so I'm finally getting into the glut, only a month later than everybody else. I've got a few outdoor tomatoes growing. These are a gardener's delight, and there's another one which I think could be moneymaker. On the other side, I've got all that lettuce that's still going to seed, remember? I'm just going to let this flower and collect the seed. It's a good weed suppressant right now, so it doesn't bother me. These purple beans, I can't remember the name, I think it's called violet, but these are ready to harvest. Talking of beans, my borlotti beans! Look how big that pod is. That's pretty impressive. And it's looking so good, so healthy. And let's see. Whoa, 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 whoa. Loads of pods over here. Oh wow. Okay, I've not had a good look at this plant yet. I'm going to wait and let this entire plant just brown and turn to crisp, and then pod them at the end of the season and put them in jars where they'll stay nice and dry. But I'm so impressed, because if you're watching last year, I planted these far too late and a frost got them before I'd actually had time to harvest the bean pods. But the teepee isn't big enough and it's kind of hanging over. Whoopsie, definitely need to make bigger supports next year. But I really do like the teepee method. I'm definitely going to do that again. Down here I've got a cucumber growing and I've had quite a few off it already. And there's some more on the way as it climbs up this support. And down in the beet bed, whoa, look at that one. I might just harvest that now. That is a nice beetroot. I'm going to harvest all of the others at once, I think, and pickle them. I like to make it in a kind of relish style, so I'll roast them first, then peel them, and then grate them, and then sort of pickle that up so it makes it nice and spreadable. Chard is looking so vibrant, look at that. Over in the long dahlia border, I've got a lot more flowers in bloom now compared to last month. But still, some of the plants are quite short, and I think that's because some of them were from the cuttings that I took in spring. Not cuttings, sorry, divisions. So they're just going to be a lot smaller plants, but look at that. Isn't that one beautiful? Cafe au lait, what a showstopper. Absolutely enormous flowers. I mean, you just can't go wrong with that one. There's some lovely dark burgundy colours as well this year. Honestly, if you don't grow dahlias, just give it a go. You get so much flower for your money. I mean, one tuber costs, you know, if you're looking at the expensive ones, it's still only about £4. And they just flower for months and months and months, and they really do just brighten up your home when you take some of these flowers. I forgot to show you the leeks behind the carrot bed. They're looking good, but they do have some signs of leek rust. So what I could do is remove those leaves and not put them on the compost bin. But otherwise they're looking pretty good. Apart from the calendula and a couple of random squash that I planted, that bed is now ready for some green manure to go in. I'm thinking of using mustard this year because that one you don't have to dig in. And now that I'm a no digger, I don't want to be disturbing the soil. I'm sure that in last month's video I showed you the squash that I had growing in this patch, and at the time it was quite a small candy roaster that I had down here, and I had the fright of my life one day after we had some heavy rain, and I sort of checked on the area to see what was going on, and I saw the monster squash that was growing down here. I can't quite believe this. Take a look. It's enormous. I mean, look at that. It's like a blimp. That's going to be an interesting one to carve and eat. I can't wait to taste the flavour of this one though, because it's meant to be super sweet, and that's how I like my squash. So I'm pretty impressed. That's going to be the biggest squash that I harvest this year. I'm going to carry on feeding it fortnightly with the liquid seaweed feed just to see how big I can get it. Be interesting to see if it weighs more than the butternut squash that I grew last year. I think that was 3.2 kilograms, so we'll see how big this one gets. The sweet corn plants that are growing just above all of these squash are growing pretty well. I've been hand pollinating them actually, and I staked them as well because it got really windy. But when these tassels appeared, I just took one of these pollen sticks and came along and then brushed the pollen all over those tassels. So hopefully this sweet corn should now be pollinated. And as we come up to the top of the plot, you can see the sort of empty patches. I've still got lots of potatoes to harvest, including some main crop that are growing in these tubs, but I do have some others in the ground still to lift up. And I do also have some celeriac growing here. Let's take a look at that. That's actually looking pretty good, and I've not actually grown it before, so it'll be interesting to see how that one tastes. And the dahlia border. It's looking great. I really should have put those Wizard of Oz at the back though, because they're too tall, but they're my favourite, so I wanted them at the front. But just how perfect are these blooms? This is the Wizard of Oz, my absolute favourite. It's just such a beauty. And down here we've got some more. Oh, this is the white. What's this one called? Onesta. White Onesta, I think. And then more creme de cassis on the other side of the cafe au lait. On top of the mound we've got a few cosmos plants that are flopping over a bit, and the weed membrane that really needs covering with some more wood chip. But it's quite a troublesome area, that, so the raised bed that I made last year is a fantastic way of getting on top of those weeds that were growing in this area before. What's going on in the polytunnel? Well, some of the tomato plants have actually flopped over. Can you see this bamboo cane? Well, that's supposed to be against the wall over here, but because of the weight of these tomatoes, it's actually pulled it down, and I'm supporting them with string, and the plant is absolutely fine. It hasn't snapped and the string is still supporting it. But if you just look at the truss of tomatoes, they're just so heavy. And these are my Amish paste tomatoes, and oh my god, that one is enormous. Look at it. That's no exaggeration, that is the size of my palm. These are an amazing sort of juicing tomato. I use them in all my sauces. There's some more around there, look. So you can see how this has just pulled down that cane. And as I go down, there's even more. But that one's ready. Oh my god, I need to pick these. And I save the seed every year, and then I take the seed from the biggest tomato. So this year it will be from this one, and then I'll grow the seeds from this very tomato next year. And you choose the best and the biggest so that you have a more successful, big, healthy tomato plant to grow from it. So I have to sort of squeeze by these plants now to get in. But look, we've got lots of tomatoes ripening, lots of sun golds, even more down here. Now this one is the Tigerella. Can you see how it's striped? I haven't actually grown this one before, but I do have some ripe ones down here. I love that orangey stripe that goes down the side of the fruit. It's gorgeous. If you haven't picked tomatoes before, by the way, if you want to keep the little cute little hat on your tomato, what you need to do is you find the little join there, the knee, I think that's what it's called, and you just press it and then it pops off nice and easy. Of course you could harvest the entire vine if it was ready, but mine's not quite ready yet, so I'll just take these as they are. Now my super mama tomato is not as big as the Amish paste, but it's still quite big and plump and really nice looking actually. New update on my Sarracenia, and it's putting up so many new little pictures. It's eating loads, drinking loads, and I still love it. It's just a bit of a beast now. Look how big it is. Over here, look, we've got some banana legs that are ready for picking. Look at that yellow. Oh, it's got a bit of blossom end rot. That's not great. Usually means there's a lack of calcium in the soil. Just pick that off. Yeah, that one's the same. I can just cut around that a bit, that's fine. That one's not too bad, but it still needs a bit more ripening. These tomatoes are a variety called Radio, and it's said that these were grown during the Dig for Victory campaign in World War II, when we had lots of food shortages and rations, so we were encouraged to grow our own food. And this is a variety that's said to be from that era, and I've not tried them yet, but let's pick a couple. I'm sorry, I won't be eating these on camera because I just can't stand raw tomatoes. Look at that though, it's such a perfect shape. I find that Sweet Million are one of the most productive red cherry tomatoes for me. I've got lots there for picking. Well, I've picked enough tomatoes for my dinner this evening, so let's nip over to Zoran's and get some chilies. It's a bit of a jungle in here. The grapevine's gone mad. I've got a squash plant growing up there, which I thought was a cucumber. Definitely not. Chilies are looking good. Tomatoes have flopped over because I didn't support them properly. And this pelargonium, I've taken some cuttings from actually. So I've got these, which are now miniature plants. They've rooted. I took these as cuttings about a month ago. They're looking really good. But as for the chilies, these are dragon claw. Lots on there. Lots of the sugar rush peach. This one is an absolutely prolific plant. So many fruits on all of the plants. We've got lots of jalapenos. Need to pick and pickle all of these. Again, sorry, lots more jalapenos. Purple cayennes. Look, it's just a chili jungle in here. They're all doing really well, and I'm trying not to overwater them. Only watering these once, maybe twice a week. But you can let the leaves sort of wilt, and the less you water them, the stronger the chilies will become. So once these start to wilt, then I'll water them, give them a really good soaking, and they'll perk back up again. Watering it that way actually improves the flavour as well, I'm told. But yeah, loads of chilies in here. What else have we got? Scotch bonnets, they're pretty big. Lots more ripening to go on those. And then we come to the peppers. The size of that. That's a Romanto pepper. Nice and long, probably about the length of my hand. Ooh, look at that little red one. I'm going to take that for dinner. That is a beautiful colour. Which one is this? Oh, Moroccan hot sweet pepper, and I got the seeds given to me from a heritage seed guardian, so we'll see what that tastes like. That looks like oh, it's another Moroccan hot, just slightly different shape. Do I take it? Do I leave it? Well, now let's take it. Yes. Oh, it's so shiny. Look at that. That is enormous. This one is the Joe chili, super long that one is, and definitely lives up to its name. Oh my god. What else have we got? RG pineapple, that one's finally cropping, a bit slow that one. I almost forgot to do the 180 spin. It's starting to get dark, so this quality is going to be a bit grainy, but here we go. Here's my plot at the end of August in 2019. Well, that's it for another tour. Thank you so much for joining me again. As we go into September, it's going to be one of the busiest months of the year for me, because not only is it busy time for preserving foods, I'm making lots of chutneys, my chili jam, and using my dehydrator as well to preserve some of the tomatoes and chilies. But it's also my 30th birthday, and I'm going to be going to Kew Gardens for the first time, and I really can't wait. It's going to be such a special trip. It's also my boyfriend's birthday, and my allotment will turn 5 years old. So many mosquitoes around. My allotment turns 5, but my YouTube channel has only just been going for over a year now. Oh my god, these mosquitoes. And I recently hit 10,000 subscribers, which is mind-blowing. So I just want to say a big thank you for joining me, for showing your support, for taking inspiration from my allotment and telling me how much you enjoy watching my videos. It really does mean a lot, so thank you so much. That's it for now. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next episode very soon.